Hello, everybody, and welcome to another RowingChat interview podcast. My name's Rebecca Caro, and I'm the host of the RowingChat podcast itself, and also the instigator of the RowingChat network of podcasts. If you'd like to become a podcaster, please get in touch. We'd love to have more voices and more shows on the network because, as we all know, the thing about rowing is there are so many different ways to talk about it and there are so many different aspects of the sport to talk about. Today, I'm going to be joined by Bert Cocu, and I will introduce him in a minute. But first, a word from our sponsors. The Speedcoach Summer Regatta series from Nelson Kellerman now offers on-the-water racing using the app. It allows you to race against rowers from all over the world, from wherever you are, lockdown permitting. There are showcase events named for and sponsored by regattas that we've lost this summer, but you can imagine yourself racing in Philadelphia on a steamy July day or just pushing past the barrier at Henley-upon-Thames. If you want to take part, this is what you need: a single and some sculling oars. At the moment, there are no team boat equipment, a Speedcoach GPS Model 2 with the training pack software, and a registered account on the Link Logbook app. Row the defined distance within the regatta timeframe. Use the Speedcoach workouts to make sure that you program the correct distance in, and upload your session into the Link Logbook. You can row as many times as you want. Your fastest qualifying piece will be used for the leaderboard, and you join the regatta from the NK website. You can get full details on our sponsors page, rowing.chat/sponsor. Our second sponsor is the Nuts and Bolts Guide to Rigging, which was known as the definitive book on modern rigging. It started as a spiral-bound affair and has become the authoritative book written by Mike Davenport. He takes you through rigging both sculling and sweep boats, equipment care, and what tools are the best to use, and how to gain speed through taking actions off the water. You can check out the Nuts and Bolts Guide to Rigging at maxrigging.com or on Amazon and take your rigging to the next level. Again, all the details at rowing.chat/sponsors. And now I'm very pleased to welcome to the podcast for the first time, Bert Cocu.
Hello.
How nice to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you again.
So, Bert, for the listeners who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about you and your personal background and journey through the wonderful sport of rowing?
Walking through my house, I thought, where to start? You are involved in that too. So somewhere you popped up. I started being involved in rowing after when I was 21. So late, actually, even for Dutch students, it's late. Stopped field hockey playing. One girl in a student house dragged me to the Bosbaan in Amsterdam, and actually I liked the club there and became a member, and etc. etc. From there on, I did some rowing just on club level, national level, and that's it. Started coaching. Went well, ended up with women's senior A and spare parts for the women's 8. Got involved in elite level. Ended up so it's during the 90s. Then ended up in beginning of 2000 with Duncan Holland, working with Duncan Holland, and as a development high performance coach in the Netherlands. Ended up in a world championship. Races with women, mostly did women all the time, scouting and developing women and student rowers. Ended up with again a few under 23 world championships. In 2010, stopped actually for 1.5 years, something like that. And then in 2012, my wife decided to go to Australia, and I thought, well, I was always a geography teacher, so I thought, well, what I've done in the Netherlands up till now, I don't know what's happening. I won't teach in Australia, so let's see what happens. And I thought, well, I'll try to make a living out of being a rowing coach. I did okay in the Netherlands. Yeah. I don't like doing this, so I did okay. Yeah, horrible. So I ended up with, digging in my network, I ended up with working at Melbourne Uni Boat Club in Melbourne, and Helene worked in Melbourne also. And we took the boys with us, became a senior women coach in Melbourne, got involved with a lot of lightweights and some heavyweights. Ended up with an under 23 lightweight pair at the World Championships for Australia in 2016, and 2017 my wife decided to go back, and now so I jumped through 30 years of rowing in 3 minutes, I think. Well, yeah, that's about it.
And obviously you follow her wherever she goes.
Oh, I'm so loyal. Yeah. Yeah, well, look, it's what we decided when it's common sense. As a geography teacher and a rowing coach, you don't make lots of money. Money is not the most important thing, but yeah, you should have water out of the tap in the house, and etc. So you should make a living. And Helene is involved in HR business and consultancy, so there's more money to make in that. So I always decided, well, let's support your career, and she supports my career for what it is, and I enjoy it. We are a good team, so yeah.
Now I'd like to start by getting your insights into the similarities and differences between two really different but really strong rowing nations, Australia and the Netherlands. What do you remember of your first few months in Australia, and what did you think about how different or similar it was?
You didn't send me that question. The first few months, I thought, well, see what happens. After my chat with Alex Inselwood, was at that time head coach at Melbourne Uni Boat Club, he said, well, yeah, listen, I had to go there, and so I ended up with him on a bike along the Yarra. And after 40 minutes, he said, yeah, and I have to go to a meeting. So he handed over the megaphone to me. And I thought, what to do? I thought, oh, crap, what to do now? And two guys were looking up and said, oh, yeah, so who are you? Well, I have to coach you guys. And I thought, well, as what I mentioned maybe before, is that, I don't like big changes at one specific moment. I said, well, okay, do what you have to do. We'll row down up to Melbourne Uni again, and let's have a chat about what I see and what you feel, and that's it. And I slowly, that's the way I do. So I slowly started making changes and getting involved with the girls. You see that there is huge school rowing culture in Australia as in the UK. Probably, but I know in Melbourne it's big. So I a lot of girls, the top end of the private schools, ended up at Melbourne Uni at that time, and different styles. I thought, oh God, no. As my thought of rowing technique, and also at that time maybe my, I don't know, lack of vocabulary in English. I was a bit blunt, straightforward, as Dutch can be, but then even more worse. And I know I made girls cry. And geez, yeah, but at the end, they loved it. They accepted it. They went faster. They won a lot of races. We became reasonably good friends, as always as coach and rower. Never get closer than that. And Actually, it was really good, and we laughed about it afterwards. Do you remember under that bridge that you mentioned something to me, and you saw my face? And I said, yeah, I saw your face, but I saw big sunglasses, set of sunglasses, and I knew your face was moving. Like, I thought, oh
no, she's going to burst into tears.
Yeah. But slowly I implemented my technique and my thoughts of rowing technique, and it worked out well. And the girls started to believe in it because they won races, a lot of races. You saw my travels with Annabelle Eaton back from Sydney to Melbourne with a backpack full of medals, and And what did I? It's being. I always think, okay, in the Netherlands, you end up with sort of reasonably okay athletes, and you improve them, and they get better, and they win a bit, and they do well, and they get invited in the program, and they go to Worlds, they ended up at the Olympics and stuff, and you think, things happen. Because you jump on a train and the train goes faster and faster and faster, and you're still part of that train and it goes faster, and you think, oh, that's it. And you jump off the train because you go to Australia. Yeah, you think, okay, that's it. And Helene said, well, yeah, look, hang on, you're just coaching now for quite a few years, so it isn't a coincidence that girls and boys feel well, go fast, and end up in the national program and go further. So it isn't a coincidence anymore. So why not give it a go and really make a living out of it? So, and with that thought, I thought, yeah, maybe she's right. She's always right, of course, but maybe she's right. And I thought, well, yeah. And getting involved, I got involved after 3 months. Bill Tait was at that time head of the Victorian Institute of Sport, rowing. He invited me to do a lightweight quad for the Interstate races in Australia. And I didn't have a clue what Interstate races were. So I did, and Bill told me it was quite big. It was really important that states are racing each other. I think, okay, fine. I got involved actually after 3 months already. So I thought, okay. And Bill, because the VIS has its bay with boats at Melbourne Uni. So Bill saw me walking out the sheds with the girls, coaching, chatting, pre-chats, after races, after training, having a chat. So maybe thought, well, worthwhile getting that guy involved. And of course, Melbourne Uni had a lot of lightweights. And so it ended up in 2013, 14, 15. 14, 15, 16, and 17. I ended up doing the lightweight quad for the Interstate for Victoria. First year, 5th. That second year, 4th, and then we ended up with the gold in 2016, and the girls were disappointed with the silver in 2017. And I went to the under 23 Worlds with Australia. In 2016, it was the most successful year I had there. It was because we moved back in fall 2017 to the Netherlands, so 2016 was a hit. Mm-hmm. Everything the girls started, they won absolutely everything. And so now talking about 3 years, you haven't mentioned it, but talking about 3 years, I saw your question: is a program successful in 3 years? Yes, it might be successful in 3 years. It might be based on a lot of things. We might mention that in this interview. But yes, you can be successful in 3 years.
So out of that quad, one boat, but how many athletes were in that crew over that 4-year period? Were there 8, 9 different girls?
A few different girls, yeah. I had 2 girls were always in there.
Yep.
and politically, I had to move around a bit in the first few years, I think. Thinking of it, freshening up my memory, I had to, hard to say. I had to select. I didn't had to select a few girls, but politely, not. Sometimes you have to get the train going and do what you have at that moment.
You do.
And you always make friends, and you have enemies at the end, but not really enemies, but people are disappointed.
Yeah. So let's go back to when you first arrived. You mentioned that there were stylistic differences. There were lots of different rowing techniques. What were the main differences that you noticed? And I'm guessing this was partly because the athletes came from a lot of different schools, or was it just that actually the national style of Australia is different from the national style of England?
Yeah. It's based on hard work in Australia, really full on hard work. Stick to the program, stick to the people, to the coaches who tell you, who give you the information. Well, on the level I got involved, more than in the Netherlands, a lot of measurement, pitch measurement, angles, all electronics involved, and got analyzed and got feedback. You gave feedback to the rowers, more than I ever had in the Netherlands. And well, yeah, it works, but in the Netherlands we don't do it that much. But I think it's really going well. It's okay. We're doing well there again, also. But yeah, so there's a lot of money available, a lot of energy, a lot of really supportive people, more way more than we have here in the Netherlands. I think I remember that the VIS was, and I don't know now, but with Noel Donaldson running the show, absolutely the same. I think the Institute of Sports in every state there, they are really involved in what happens at the clubs, and that's really supportive and really, it gives you a good feeling, and that's what's not happening here. So that's absolutely, that's what I find disappointing. But yeah, well, that's what it is, and you can't change that. I feel. Because then you get into politics, and I don't want to get involved in that horrible, use nice words stuff again. No, that's not my
Australia pioneered the development of sports institutes as a pathway for a lot of different sports, and to enable athletes to transition from school and university up towards regional and then national selection. And obviously it was very fortunate having Bill Tait so close by in your building.
Jeez, yeah, absolutely.
Tell us a bit about what an institute offers to a club in Australia.
They offer you, well, is what I felt, they offer you the support to the athletes who are based on power, measured on an erg, doing really well. They get involved in that's sort of more or less happening here a bit, but they get you. Then you get involved in the local Institute of Sport. You do your strength and conditioning training there. They help you out with specific, focused on the athlete, a strength and conditioning program. They really, and that's what not happening down here. They're really a lot of times, almost once a week, they go down on in a tinny or on the bike. They coach me, they coach the crew or whatever. So that's what I did. So it's not hierarchical it's not sitting there in a tower looking down and say, "Come on, guys, push harder, pull harder, and we'll see what's happening." No, they walk down and they say, "Hey, this is who I am. How can I help you?" And so they offer you a lot of support by specialists, strength and conditioning training trainers. They help you writing a program. They help you analyzing a rowing stroke with video, with footage, with pressure gauge. That's what they all offer. It opened my eyes a lot, I think, in the sense of, whoa, this is really cool. How nice is this? It's just a warm blanket. And on the other hand, it showed that without this, and that's always nice, that because getting to that level, you don't have that help. So that's also fine, that without the help, I was able to improve the rowers this much that they got picked out.
Yeah.
And at the end, it is fine-tuning, and that amount of technical stuff you get supported with by the VIS, that helps you to fine-tune a crew. But overall, until there, I thought, well, actually, yeah, without all these measurements, oh yeah, it's going really well, actually. Yeah, and that's fine. It gives you a confident feeling. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good what we do. So keep going. Now here and there, slight change, but yeah.
Like the last 5%.
Yes. Losing by 0.5 or winning by 1.2. Yeah. Maybe on a race. Yeah.
And that matters. And
oh yeah. And losing. Look, I just mentioned one of the guys. I was biking on the Bosline yesterday, and I said to one guy, I said, "Do you remember the 8? Yeah. He said, yeah, I remember the 8. In those days, he was a lightweight guy. I was coaching at the club in the Netherlands. We had two. He was in the lightweight 4, and I had a lightweight 4 with a friend of mine, and we put those two clubs in 1 and 8, and we raced on a national regatta, and we beaten the national lightweight 8 then.
Excellent.
Yeah. But up till there, so that was the final race. We raced them, but also we on that Saturday we raced them also, and we came in second, just half a canvas behind that national 8. I thought, and so I saw that guy yesterday. I said, "Do you remember the 8?" I said, "Hey, how are you going?" He said, "Yeah, do you remember the 8?" "Oh yeah, I remember the 8." So, and it was not the winning race, but it was the race that we became second, just getting so close to the national 8, and that gave them the push for the next day. We slaughtered them, we killed them. That half canvas, they don't get it tomorrow. So winning is not always the big thing. It is very nice, but becoming second was one of the best races. Yeah,
isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I've been watching. There's a Netflix documentary on at the moment about the Chicago Bulls, the basketball team, which Michael Jordan, and their hugely successful run of championship wins. They did 3 in a row, and it's been a very interesting documentary because it splices together footage that was shot with them in the years 94 through 97. And a lot of archive, shots of games and things, and interviews with coaches and journalists and agents and the athletes themselves. And of course, in basketball, you won't just do one match against another team. You'll have a mini series. You'll maybe do 4. It's usually odd numbers, 5 or 7 games.
Yeah.
And one of the most interesting things about what motivated, particularly Michael Jordan, who is the sort of athlete who leads from the front. He pulls the team behind him. He has a very, very strong work ethic, but he also has a massive competitive streak. And they told the story of a guy from the opposing team who they had won their first match against them. And this guy, as they were walking off the court, touched him on the arm and said, good game, Michael. And that was enough to fire him up so that the next game it was like, death. You guys are going down and you're going down hard, and you're not going to get near the basket.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I think, yeah. So it's not because come on, it's not about it's not about the winning. It's about your best performance.
Correct.
And if winning is involved, that's very nice, but you train so much, so you can't just, you can't rely on those 5, maybe 6 races a year where 20 crews are competing, relying on, oh yeah, I might win. No, that's not the goal. It should be your best, absolutely best race. And if you nail it, you've done a good job. It's what I mentioned. I had a chat with a spare pair for the under 23 women's age yesterday at the Bosbaan, and one of the girls said, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Yeah, well, look, it's." I said, "I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know if we do well." So, well, honestly, I don't know either. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I do know we do well now.
Yep.
I do see times. Look, it's not you're under 23. You're out of a novice 8. One of the girls, one other girl, wrote just at an open club, so not a student club in the Netherlands. So look, your technique is well. You're improving. Times are getting better, and I don't know if you win. Maybe you become last. You become 4th. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But do start fast. It's not about being the first at the 100-meter line, but it's about being there in the race at the 250-meter line and on. Mm-hmm. If you hear the finish line, you hear the bleep, and you look back to your pair partner and think, oh, first you have to vomit a bit, and then you look back again and think, this was absolutely good race. Fine. Mm-hmm. Be happy. Yeah. And that's it. And if it's, I don't care if you get 8th, not in the final, or 3rd and having a medal. Hooray, yeah. I don't know. But so you can't rely on having 50 weeks of 10 training sessions a week on winning. That can't be the goal. It is involved, but a good race, that's the goal. Yeah, it's not really rocket science, but boring info probably though to a lot of people, but it is.
But for a young athlete who you say has just come through from a novice program, it is probably the first time they've been told that. And there are so many process goals that need to be taught so that people understand there's a pathway, there's a development, that your development may stall. You may go back a few steps, you then may advance a few steps, that this is completely normal. No one explained that to me. And I learned it later on when I was one of the more experienced athletes in the group. And I regret that I hadn't had that explained. How do you develop an athlete, a team, a crew? How do you pull them forwards? How do you show them where they're going next? Because when I started, I was a student rower. I didn't row in high school. And my goal, my ambition was to row to the university. And then—
Can you repeat the last sentence?
When I started to row, I was a student rower.
Yeah.
And I had one goal, and that was to row for the university, to have light blue oars. And in my second year, I achieved that. And I thought, what next? And there was no one in that second year, which was actually 1986, when the World Championships were in Nottingham, which was a 2-hour drive from my university town. No one said to us, you should go there. You should watch the best in the world. You know, they're here on your doorstep. You could drive there in a short time and go and see this. And no one said this would be a good thing to do. And it was so short-sighted.
It just reminds me of back to the club where I started, and back again to the lightweight boys. I just mentioned making a composite crew with the other clubs, with the other club, but the lightweight straight four we had. A friend of mine and I coaching the guys. We said, "Hang on." So within a week, there's the Holland Baker in Amsterdam. You're not racing there because it's elite level straight four, so you're just a club, and time shop, you're not racing there, fine. But it doesn't mean you have a whole weekend off. So we gave the boys, we picked a few races they had to watch and had to analyze, and they had to tell us their thoughts about why specific crews went fast. So I do remember the boys sitting there at the Holland Baker with paper and pen. Oh yeah, what's the next crew? Oh yeah, analyzing the crew. And why not just watch good rowing? I just mentioned also to again to the library. Oh, sorry, to the under 23 pair. Just mentioned the Bosman, and they said, yeah, we watched. We practiced some starts last week, and they're getting there. And they said, yeah, it's difficult to get from the starting and the next 15 strokes into a rhythm, a sustainable rhythm for the rest of the race. Yeah, that's an issue. Yeah, that's a problem. But we'll solve it. We'll see. So what do you feel? And I went on, and then they mentioned to me, yeah, but we watched good rowing. I said, okay, that's good. I said, just come on. Yeah, we watched. So what did you watch? Yeah, we watched the Kiwi pair, and even at 1,000 meters, they were rowing half slide. I said, yeah. So that doesn't mean that you should row half slide at 1,000 meters, which probably doesn't work. Oh, they said, yeah. So the question for me to you is, why did that crew go fast?
Good question.
I'm like, oh God, what am I doing here? But no, it's so sweet and lovely.
Eventually they come to the right answer.
So I said, oh yeah, eventually, yeah, actually. So I said, look, I said, well, you should. I mentioned also in years ago there was a Cox 4 heavyweight man. Cox 4 was still a number on a world championship. And do you remember an Italian 4, horrible moving? You see, sitting on the seat everywhere, going all over the place, but they won. So
because the blade work was good.
What's happening in water that's the most important thing. So if you see good rowing, that's really good. If you watch good rowing, that's really good. Analyze why that boat goes fast. What makes the boat go fast? Oh yeah, that's not a phrase I invented, but someone else. I mean, oh yeah. So that's your goal for the next time. So and again, then because when I in my coaching career, René Meinders, a well-known, one of the best coaches we ever had in the Netherlands, he finished off women's aids, men's aids with all Olympic medals. So. And I got a bit. Sometimes I had a short chat with René, and I was sort of nervous. Oh, yeah, they don't move that well, and it disturbs the boat speed. And he said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Well, I think. Have you looked at the boat when it moved?" He said, yeah. So what do you see? He said, "Well, it just moves and keeps going." So, oh yeah. So actually, but why? Because there's a bit of irritation. You say, yeah. So because they move, the boys move all over. Sorry, the girls move all over the place. Say, yeah. So he said, well, just look at the blade. Where does the blade go in? He said, well, the blade goes in there, takes 90 degrees. The blade goes out there. Does the blade get stuck in the water, and the boat passes the blade? Say, yes, it does. So he said, I don't care how they move in the boat, even if they stand on their head on the seat during the recovery, as long as the blade goes in over there and 90 degrees angle gets out over there. And that's the goal, I think. Okay. But that's really important. That's so important. So at a club, oh yeah, people start looking at so small, specific details that don't care right now. Just get the blade in, get it out. Yeah, and if the boat moves left, right, something is wrong. So analyze that. What makes that, what causes it, but keep it simple. I don't care if your head moves left all the time in a recovery, as long as the boat stays level. Now, oh yeah, so as long as the boat stays level, that's fine. Yeah, details are fine, but make the boat go fast. It's all depends on training hard and get the blade in, push hard. And one other, and then you might have a question. I had one of those meetings with an open class. Sorry, yeah. Another story pops up with me now, but I'll stick to this one. One of the yeah.
Keep going.
Please interrupt if you think, oh, hey, stop. So I had one of those meetings about rowing technique, and for what's worth, and showed the people, showed the audience some footage, and it was a good club, a club in the sense of youth and non-students, an open club, a lot of older people, and had a small chat about technique and what to look at, is what I just mentioned probably. And then one guy asked me, what's the thing you tell rowers most of the time? What's the main thing you tell them to do? And I said, just push harder and keep hanging. That's it. And he looked at me. That's it. So yeah, because if you push hard, you hang. And if you push hard, you have pressure on your foot stretcher. And you push hard, you feel you have to hold on to the air while you pass the mood, hold on to the oar. So push hard and keep hanging. That's it. And I coached one of the crews, and the guy was biking with me. Yeah. And actually, that you just saw the pressure just maybe slipping off just in the draw a bit. I thought, well, okay, so that's where it goes wrong. So before that, because it's all going in circles in rowing, it's just boring. 250 times during a race, you do the same thing.
Yep.
So I thought, so just before that, something goes wrong. Yeah. So I thought, well, yeah, just too early in the drive, you saw the angle, or you saw the elbow breaking. I thought, okay. So I said to the guy, "Do you see what happened?" He said, "No, yeah." So the elbow, I mentioned the elbow, and I said, "Well, so what should I do?" So what does it mean when the elbow breaks in the middle of the drive? And he couldn't answer the question. I think this is where you have to. So if you talk about technique and you feel basic info is missing, then you're done. So well, bending the elbow, it's a natural thing because the rower loses pressure. So what are the main muscles? Well, we walk the whole day, so legs are obviously the main muscle group that's really important in rowing. And long shins, of course, that's another thing. Don't write it down now.
No, I won't write
No.
that down.
So I said, so this is where we end up with how to solve breaking the elbow in the middle of the drive. Push harder. That's it. Kick the foot stretcher. Hit it from catch to finish and keep hanging on the outside arm. So that's what I told the rower. And slowly you saw it bending less, and say harder. And then, they kept hanging until just before the finish, you have to break the elbow to have the constant drive. Yeah, but keep it simple, common sense. Be able to explain and know what happens. If you don't know what happens, if you don't know why the elbow breaks in the middle of the drive, then you have an information issue. Simple things. Sorry, but I see you laughing a bit. So, what's going through your mind now?
It reminded me of a coach who I forget why we couldn't understand what he was saying. Maybe he had a faulty megaphone, but basically he would say things to us, and if we didn't understand, we would just push harder. We didn't understand what he was asking, but we pushed harder.
Well done, Becky. Well done. Other thing is also, And if you are at a club, sorry, I'll just lean back a bit. If you're at a club and if you're a head coach, there are not many people you can talk about with rowing and my thoughts and if you're doing well, etc. So that's also nice. If you're at a club, do go to other clubs or do go to other coaches. Bike with those or ask to go in a tinny and listen to what they say while coaching. That most of the time you hear the same thing, but a different way. That's how it goes. But please do that. The other thing is, and even I haven't had any success in that. I always say, if I'm coaching in all those years, when Cruz did well at the end, I always said, please come, grab a bike, or tell me that you're there in the morning, jump in a tinny, and join me on my thoughts are, it's just very nice having a chat with someone, while coaching was pretty boring, coaching looking 2 hours at one crew.
That's right.
But my goal is to absorb all the knowledge someone else has and to use it if you can. If not, just don't use it, but ask if you're not understand what I'm saying or what a coach is saying and see if it works. And hardly, again, I'm not successful in that. Hardly any people bike with me. Yeah. I'm always on my own. May I say how stupid that is?
I agree.
And one other thing is that the girls I coached at Melbourne Uni, it's very nice. And it's also now, I had one of the lightweight girls, Alice Arch. And Alice was also coaching, was part of the coaching program. She coached as a coach at her school, at the Wesley College in Melbourne. And so I coached the girls on Saturday morning, early, always. And so from 7 till 9, pushed out at 7 and came back at Melbourne Uni at 9. The girls just jumped on the bike and went off to Wesley College because they coached there. Girls 30, 14 quad, cox quad, whatever. And I said to her, so, okay, what are you telling those girls? Mm-hmm. And Alice said, yeah, well, it's not that difficult. I'll tell them the same you tell me in the morning. So I have a goal. I have a technique to focus on. And I tell them the same. And I had to laugh a lot. I said, well, yeah, actually, that's very nice, actually. That's really good. I said, does it work? Yeah, actually. You coach me so often now, so I know what to do and what to change. I know what to look at. But actually, so the girls just repeated what I was teaching them back, building on a program in 3 years. So actually, the girls there already used my vision and my view on coaching and technique. At a club now slowly I feel that the club where I work now in Eindhoven in the Netherlands, it's a technical university here, small university comparing to the other cities. It's just one university, so with 16,000 people, it's reasonably big actually, but the amount of students in other student cities, this is a small student city. But so now at the club where I work, I force people to use, to be aware of what they're saying, what they're telling, what the language they use, what the effect is of the words they use, if they really understand what they mean and what they say. And slowly they start to use the vocabulary. Rowers don't need to hear a lot because they think, oh, it sounds like that word, so let's do this, and it works. So they all start rowing. They all have sort of same style. Up till then, when I arrived, there were a lot of islands. These coaches, bunch of coaches coach this, and they coach this a bit. So not my thought, how it should be. And one of the friends now had a coffee 2 days ago. Sorry, because yesterday I was at the Bosbaan, so he came for a coffee and have a chat. And he said, because I haven't been at the club the last COVID-19 time. I've been there a lot. There's also an issue of COVID-19, but anyway, so he said, but the whole bunch of coaches are responsible for taking the middle group out in big boats, because once a week I want to have everyone in a big boat. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're second, third year novice, get in a big boat, do it. It's fun. So I said, well, how's it going at the club? Yeah, he said, well, actually, yeah, because he did light weights and I did some heavyweights. He said, well, the light weights and the heavyweights, they took an 8 and they went out in an 8. And from stroke 1, you saw they are all doing the same. So that means you have different groups, lightweight, heavyweights, different coaches, but they all coach the same style. Getting out in a boat, you don't care, you don't have to train a lot. This is what you learn. This is how it should, because a wrong stroke, it should feel, because you don't see your own wrong stroke. Yeah. This is how it should feel. Yes, and they just went off. Solid as it is in an 8. And the guy said, well, actually, he said, well, even they were surprised and said, oh, yeah, actually, went right well, actually.
Yep.
It's not a coincidence anymore, because you're all the same. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's nice. Yeah.
It takes 3 years, though, to build up the group. Even if you have athletes joining and leaving the group, the core start together. And I was going to ask you, you've worked obviously in several different clubs over your career. Do you try to start with a quad or an 8, and then in the second year bring new people into the 8 and put them into smaller boats, or do you do it the other way around?
Good question again. Well, look, at this club I arrived and they said, well, what do you want to change? Actually, not much now. Just keep going. Do what you plan to do, and I'll start coaching. I was responsible for the heavyweight men when I first started, and there was a bigger goal at the end, but for the club. But so just do what you have a plan to do, and I started coaching, and I was involved with boys in a single and boys in a 4 and in a double. And you develop your rowing technique throughout the years. When I look at footage from years ago, I think, I don't know. Okay, they went well, but okay. So I took a bit of Aussie style, a bit of Dutch style, and just, well, I have to write it down. There's something also about that. But so I started coaching, just doing a group, and but I really find it important that they all start doing the same. So that's why I started. That's why I said, well, I want everyone to be in a big boat once a week, because then you get get one style, and people. It's fun to do. It's so fun to do, being in a big boat. And joining your club mates, having fun when there's less pressure of, we have to do really well. This is a really important session. It is.
Yeah.
But the importance of this session is having fun and rowing together. So coaching, I slowly implemented my style and my thoughts about how a boat should go fast or can go fast, rowing in big boats, and having a chat about people after a racing or after a session with the coaches, making them aware of what they said if they were coaching. Partly when I was involved in the rowing coach for education program at a federation, making people aware of what they say and what the impact is of what they say, stuff like that. And people hardly realize the impact of what they say. And I think that's also important. So it means implementing your style, starting small and then slowly expanding. Rowing together in big boats is really important, I think. Fun to do, but also really important for the club style. and making people aware of what the impact is of what they say. That's mainly the thing I do. So it's a mixture of the question you just asked me, rowing in an 8 and moving people on in 8. Yes, and at a club, people stop, people come, and you race in pairs, and sometimes in a single, and sometimes in a 4. But rowing in the big boat is also fun, and for a club, at club level, a bit more easy. So then you always slowly get rowing style and how it should be. Because people go, people come, but the base, there's always a sort of base in that big boat. Oh yeah. If you want to row, if you want to have an easy session, just blend in.
Yeah. Certainly, and if you want to have a really good seat race, blend in. Definitely, blending is a skill that's worth harnessing and acquiring.
I said to the girls who are now involved in the under 23, I said, well, because they were really young. So one was she just became 18, and I said, look, if you get involved in racing, we were driving to the Bosbaan from Eindhoven, now 2 girls in the car, and it's really important, seat racing. Yes, it's really important. So, what should you do? How should you be? How do you become a fast rower? And how do you let that boat go fast? Because you just jump in a boat and you have to row up to the start, race for 1,250 meters or 1,500 meters or maybe 2K, whatever they decide to do. So how do you win? I really push hard. So that's really important. But the most important thing is blend in. The goal is you jump in the boat and you have to ask yourself after 500 meters, how can I make sure that my teammates behind me or in front of me make the boat go fast? And if you're a pain in the ass and you're doing your own thing, you're done. So that's the seat racing is as simple as that. That's the easy thing of seat racing.
It is.
The difficult thing of seat racing is the whole mixture in times and switching rows, one boat to the other boat. But anyway, but for a rower, how do you make the boat go fast? If you just jump in a boat, blend in, and let the others go fast, caused by you, then you do well. Actually, that's easy. Common sense, and obviously nothing new for a lot of people listening to this podcast, but be aware. If you have a composite crew, real fast, they should do the same. Have a chat about it before you go on the water. Talk about things they should feel. Start that. What your vocabulary is. Let them explain what there is. Make 2 or 3 things the main goal for that training session, because you always have to be determined to go on the water with a specific goal, because else you just pedal up and down the course. You think, oh yeah, it was a nice pedal, and actually it's absolutely horrible what you've done, because you haven't had any goal at all. You couldn't focus on anything, but there was nothing to focus on than just bloody wind coming from the left. So you have to have a specific goal, chat about a composite crew, why you went fast and why they went fast, blend in together and see if it works out well. If it works out well, go for a race. If it doesn't work out well, be good friends, have a tea, find another composite partner, and that's it. Being angry to each other doesn't work, because in your rowing network,
it's too small.
Yeah.
Now, the last question I want to ask you is about seating crew. You've worked obviously more with crews than single scullers, and tell us a little bit about what you look for when you're trying to put the right athlete into the right seat.
Always the last question, because I have written down so much, but we don't have time. That's fine. Okay, good. Seating, who to put in a specific seat. I have just a basic thought about, let's talk about an 8. bit about a quad I could, based on my experience in Australia. But about an 8. Good rhythm, basic technique, power. People are able to put the power on the blade, because then the boat goes fast. Consistent rhythm, consistent drive, just going down the line from seat 1 till 8. Now, seat 8, consistent rhythm, full reach at the catch, in my opinion, doesn't really need to be the most powerful rower. Just good technique, consistent rhythm, that's it. Leave number 7, go to number 6, is the second important, really important for following the number 8 and making and helping the number 5, 4, and 3 to support the rhythm the 6 has, copied by the 8. Because if the 6 is not doing well, you miss the number 5, 4, and 8 and 3 in that boat. The machine room is out. So number 8 and 6 are most important. Then going up to 1, bow seater, be able to relax full on, but sort of having a feeling of a good rhythm, because there's a lot of happening with the bow seater facing towards the stroke. Sorry. 8, 6, 1, 7. Go back to 7. Support the 8. Support the 8-seater. Being stubborn, confident. Whatever happens, being mentally strong. Helping the 8, number 8, to maybe also with words. Come on, hang on. We're nearly there. Keep going. Full reach at the catch. Stuff like that. And then fill up the rest of the boat. Power engine in 5, 4, and 3, and then you're done. Yeah. So 8, 6, 1, 7.
And for a quad?
Quad?
Or a 4, perhaps. Maybe there's...
Whatever. Quad. Yeah. Mixture of. I think the 3 is really, really important for the rhythm, and the 4 should be able to be consistent. The 1 is the same as in the 8, is should be able to absorb everything that's happening in front of him or her. That's what I had for 1 year. But at the end, with the winning quad in 2016 with the Interstate, we moved the 3 to 4, and so we made a small change there. So the 3 to 4, the 4 to 2, and it worked out. At the end, it worked out better, because that's where I just wanted to have the most experienced rower in the quad on stroke seat, and that was. She was the most senior rower, Alice McNamara, and my thought is that the others, there's a sort of chemistry going on during those years. Alice is a legendary rower at Melbourne Uni, stopped recently and enjoying life a different way. But so Alice, at that moment, she was a double world championship in lightweight quad. And she learned the lightweight girls stuff, a lot of stuff. And in that year 2016, I thought, okay, they all rely on her, and let's make her the stroke seater, and let's go for it. And they all saw Alice 1, 2, 3. They all saw Alice on 4, and blasted out of the blocks and went well. So a bit of more difficult with a quad, but so it means if you're really want to have good technique, it means 3 has a big impact on the stroke seater. Yeah. If someone with, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I agree that 3 does have an enormous impact. And a different role than 7. It's more like 6 and an 8.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll write it down.
Well, one trick that I've heard, I have seen done because I've experienced it in an 8, is swap the stern pair and the bow pair, because often the skills are quite similar.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily bad to change things around a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Last one, I do remember. Also that's what Kim Brennan, Kim Crow, then those days Kim Crow. I thought, okay, well, Kim is in the 8, and we were training for the head of the Yara. And about you mentioning moving around, seats moving around, and we went out and on the Yara went into the docks, and who am I? And so before we went out, I said, Kim, what do you want me to coach? And do you want me to coach you? And she said, oh, hang on. I insist that you coach me. I think, okay, that's a clear message. I'll coach you. That's sort of carte blanche for, well, I'll get you. And so we went out on docks, and I thought, wow. Kim was on 7. Lucy Stefan was on 8 seater. Didn't work out really well. So I thought, okay, coming into the city from the docks under Balti Bridge, and I thought, okay, so I'll just stop rowing. I said, okay, and then we moved a few rows around, and I moved Kim, and at the end the rhythm was way better, so I moved Kim to 5. And another rower, I took one rower from the middle of the boat in my tinny and put her on 7. And so I just moved around a bit on the water. I said, okay. I thought, well, I don't care. I'll just do what I think that's right. Maybe I'm wrong, but okay. And we went on for the last 3K. And I think, yeah. Just lean back in a tinny. That's way better. That's good. And actually, that's how we raced it in that year, and did well. Yeah. So that was nice. So always, but that's so nice. And a lot of people should know and should learn from that attitude. What I saw at Melbourne Uni, how great the legends are that walk around. They were so humble and loyal to the club. And that's what I don't see in the Netherlands. And I haven't seen at many other clubs in the Netherlands. If the girls asked Kim if they knew she was, or Lucy Stefan, or whatever, if they were in the city, because they train at Rowan Australia, or in Canberra, or in Penrith now. If the girls knew they were in town, my girls called those rowers to make a crew, a sweep boat or a sculling crew, whatever. And the girls always said yes. The girls the girls like Kim or Lucy, they always said yes. They were always there, and they always. So that's so important that big, famous rowers, in my opinion, are so nice and so humble, and they have a big heart for the club, and they always let you know when they were around, and so they could help. So yeah, that mentioned also the when I asked Kim, should I coach you, and she said, oh yes, I insist that you coach me. I think, okay, but I think that's really important. People should learn. Big legends, that's fine, because we make them legends, but they just want to be humble and be part of your crew instead of, oh yeah, there's the holy legend coming walking in. No, just have a cup of coffee, drink a tea, go out for a row. And they do it. And that's what I don't see at a lot of clubs. No, sorry, I don't have time. No. Come on, second year rows, no way I'm jumping to those guys in the boat. Learn from this. But anyway, yeah.
Wait to masters rowing, then you have to row with everybody. It's very straightforward.
Yeah, big boats, lovely.
Absolutely.
And I
But
thought about that also. But anyway, nice to see you again.
thank
It's
you.
normal
It's
that we sometimes have, but
It is. Yeah. It's been an absolute delight having
thank
you
you.
here with us. Please tell the listeners where they can connect with you online.
Yes, I will. I will forward this interview.
But do you have an email address or a Facebook profile where they can follow
I have
you?
a Facebook profile. They can follow me. Yeah, I have a Facebook profile, and I have an email address. I think it's really public. Even bertcocu@mac.com is fine with me. All good.
Brilliant.
Go for it. Yeah.
Thank
Take care.
you
Yeah.
very much.
Hello to
And-
Grant.
And thank you to all of our listeners. If you could do one thing after listening today, subscribe. Either subscribe on YouTube or go to our website, rowing.chat, and follow the links to get a weekly email that summarizes all of our podcast episodes that have been published that week. And maybe tell a friend. Thank you for being with us. Till next time. Bye-bye.